Hello everyone. Today I have a Korbanth, an 89Sabers Skinnyflex. Korbanth used to sell it. I installed this hilt for a customer, and I enjoyed doing the work, and I'm showing you a video of this work. What makes this Skinnyflex a little bit different from the other Skinnyflex you may have seen is that I designed a 3D printed dual switch holder for this hilt. All the other switch holders I've seen for the 89 Skinnyflex had a single switch in there, the auxiliary switch, and I thought that we might be able to cram an extra switch in there for a main and an auxiliary switch, and I managed to do so. It was my first time designing something in 3D software, and overall I really enjoyed the process, despite some small frustrations with getting the size just right and printing out the material a few times over. As you can see, the slider's held in by two coils. The kit normally comes with a small pin, but I found that the pin actually goes through the hole that's supposed to keep the coil in place. So I cut some a 1.5 millimeter rod, which was just right. Yeah, the design flaw of this slide switch from 89Sabers is that it doesn't really actuate, doesn't really slide as smoothly as you'd like. Thereby, the plungers might stay stuck in place. The solution is to just help along the plunger actuate properly. The slider stays in place if you put the upper half of the slider under the most tension, and this one can just be a little bit looser, but it does not go off. I haven't decided if how I'm going to distribute this switch holder, either through Shapeways for people to buy and print themselves, or if I'm going to do a small run. I haven't done something like that before, so I'm still in the process of figuring that out. Yeah, but yeah, the 89Sabers Skinnyflex. It holds a 7/8 inch blade, which I made for the customer, and the main button is also wired, and this is the power. So if you slide downwards, it's the power. If you press this button, it's the power. If you slide upwards, it's the auxiliary. Now, this saber comes with a chassis by White Cloud Sabers from Australia. He was kind enough to provide me with the STL file so that I could print out the chassis. It also holds a 28mm bass speaker. This speaker is from SmugglersOutpost, and they really make fantastic speakers. I've never had any problems with them, and they're very loud. The soundboard is Golden Harvest V3, Phase 4. It's the first time I've used this soundboard. I'm normally a Profi guy, so I've always used Profi board soundboards. So it took a little while to get used to it, but it was nice trying to figure out how this worked. The main issue, main issues I had with this chassis was that the contacts were battery contacts were about 1 millimeter too far apart, and thereby the battery wouldn't really make contact with both contacts. So if you held the saber upright, or you swung with it, it might just disconnect for a millisecond and then come back. That's not really ideal. So what I did was use a small magnet. The battery contacts are fortunately magnetic, to bridge the gap between the contacts. Now, for those of you who might wonder, is it a good idea to put a magnet so close to a lithium-ion battery? I am not 100% exactly sure, so I wouldn't recommend it, but that's the only way to solve the problem quickly, temporarily. And I've also figure that there are other chassis out there with magnetic battery covers, so multiple batteries very close to the multiple magnets very close to the battery, and there was never any problem. So I figured, I guess the same applies here. Yeah, so without further ado, let's put the battery inside the chassis. Make sure that you get the bottom half in there so that the magnet will stay in place. And once you're, hold up, the magnet just jumped right off. So, here again. Now make sure it stays in place.
This is where the fun begins.
So, the font that you hear is from K-Sit, the Chosen One. It's basically the go-to Anakin Skywalker Episode 3 font for any Anakin Skywalker Episode 3 lightsaber. So, another issue, besides the battery context, was that the speaker is still sticking out like about a millimeter or half a millimeter, and thereby it really butts up against the bottom of the pommel cap. So what I had to do to solve that problem, because once you were swinging the saber, it really made some loud noises, and that was not good for the health and the longevity of the speaker. What I did was I grinded out the inside of the pommel cap. The only downside was because such fine particles were released when you were grinding, it kind of caused some micro scratches on the pommel cap. Fortunately, the display pommel is still in very good condition, so if you just want to display it, you won't notice a thing. But this was the sacrifice that I had to make. I've contacted White Cloud Sabers about this, and hopefully he'll make some small adjustments to his chassis to make it just better. You may also have noticed that it doesn't come with a kill switch to turn the saber on and off. The Golden Harvest V3 has deep sleep mode, unlike the Profi board, so it will barely sap any power once it's off. So theoretically, a kill switch is not needed. Personally, I just like to have a kill switch to keep the saber just off, because most devices that we know of and grew up with have an on and off switch button. But yeah, I guess it's just personal preference. Now let's put this thing in there. Make sure that it, yep. So make sure that it's clocked just right. Yep, it's clocked just right. So, for demonstration purposes, I'm first going to use the slide switch. It's the main feature I'm proud of. As you can see, it works very nice. The saber is loud. Actual auxiliary switch works too. And if you press it for about a second or two, works as well. I can also show you the main power. Works fine too. No problems there. So, yeah. Now, let me show you the saber with the blade and the connector. It has a stock V3 Eco Neopixel connector. Stock Neopixel connectors are basically, you know, for me, I find them the best connectors there are, and I use them in all my installs. Now, let's put the blade in here. Like I said earlier, it holds a 7/8 inch blade that I made for this hilt. So just carefully put this thing in and then put it in there until you feel the pins or you feel that springiness. And then you hold the saber in, or hold the blade in, so that it will make proper contact with the pin. Make sure you don't do it too tight. And for demonstration purposes, I'm going to screw it in tight, very tight, because I won't be swinging around with it. It's just to show you that this thing works. So I hope this is captured properly in camera. So I made some basic modifications to the blade styles and the color to give it this effect. It's basic what you expect from Anakin 3 lightsaber. So that came out good. It also has twist on and off. time to remove the blade. So make sure you also carefully, and if necessary, clockwise remove the blade. So that's out. And then afterwards you can just put the blade plug in there. I'm gonna leave it open for a bit. Yeah, what else? Yeah, as you can see, this saber, chrome plated, very beautiful. However, it's a real fingerprint magnet, so you have to clean up properly or just use gloves when using it. This is pretty much one of the most accurate Anakin Skywalker Episode 3 lightsabers that you can find. The only saber more accurate than this one is the 7-Chambers NPXL Elite, which I also own, but it's too far away for me to grab it. That one also a very gorgeous hilt. The main differences are, you know, very subtle, but the most notable difference between that saber and this saber is the clamp section. As you can see here, it has a more matte finish, matte aluminum, whereas the NPXL Elite is all chrome plated. It's accurate to the prop. You'll find that this particular saber from 89Sabers is really modeled after the master replicas of this saber, and I'd say that this saber is better than the master replicas, more FX install friendly. Another alternative is the Korbanth Flex. I've never had that saber, so I don't really know what it's like. But I think that saber already has the dual slide switch incorporated in it. And I don't think that that saber has a functioning main button. The other saber I know of that is in production, and under Anakin Skywalker Episode 3 lightsaber, is that from SB Sabers, also in Australia. That's still work in progress, so it will take some time before we're going to see more information about that. But yeah, if you have 89Sabers Skinnyflex, or if you're interested in one and you can't get a hold on NPXL either, this might be slightly above your price budget, you can't go wrong with an 89Sabers Skinnyflex if you can find one. It's a really nice hilt, and I enjoyed installing it. 89Sabers, despite the reputation, is known for FX install friendly lightsabers, and yeah, it is a good purchase. So this will be going with my customer today, and I hope that he will enjoy this saber very much and will continue to use this for a long time to come. If you like this video, you can like or subscribe. And yeah, next project that I'll have is making a chassis for the Luke Skywalker Episode 6 lightsaber, a Luke Hero. I have two Luke Heroes. One from Anakin Starkiller, the Luke Hero. I'll be making a chassis for that. And will be accompanied with a crystal chamber from Veracity Labs and 7 Chambers. And because they're so similar, because that saber is similar to this one from the Veracity Lab, the Mom Hero, this chassis will probably be compatible or very similar to some respect. So that will be my next project. So stay tuned for videos about that when the time comes. And yeah, until next time.